welcome to the latest broadcast of Tailgate Update. We're here with Julie Miller and Ryan Bissall, almost a full house tonight. So much going on, so many sports. We're going to be short and to the point tonight, and we're going to start with Ryan with some important baseball updates.
I don't know if it's an update, but some sad news out of the baseball world. Pete Rose passed away last week.
And we gave away that baseball and everything, and then that's when I wrote that long article about his life, and I learned so much about him, and now he died without ever being...
Did we give away that baseball?
Yeah.
Did we really? Okay.
Yeah, like over a year ago, I think. Well, 6 months or so ago, I don't know. But yeah, that, I mean, I'm sure this news hits hard for that recipient.
Oh yeah, it's gonna make the baseball worth even more money.
True.
So passed away. Never got to be inducted into the Hall of Fame because he was banned for life in 1989 for betting on baseball.
That hurt me.
Huh?
That hurt me, and I'm not even a baseball fan. It's like...
So let's run down a couple of the stats here. MLB record for most games played with 3,562. Most at-bats with 1,453. Most hits, 4,256. He was also a 17-time All-Star in 5 different positions. 1965, 67 through 71, 73 to 82, and 85. 3-time World Series champion, 75, 76, and 80. 1975 World Series MVP, NL MVP in 1973, NL Rookie of the Year in 63, 2-time Gold Glove winner in 69 and 70, Roberto Clemente Award winner in 1976, 3-time NL batting champ, MLB All-Century team, and as a manager, he has a record of 412 and 373, which is good for a 5.25 winning percentage.
So he's the GOAT.
Yeah, pretty much, but he'll never be recognized as the GOAT.
I know, it's so upsetting.
It springs open a whole new can of worms, too, because every year it's the same thing.
Lucy,
in the Hall of Fame.
Say hi. Lucy, say hi. Oh, very nice. Okay.
So when the Hall of Fame elections come up every year, it's a new debate. Everybody always talks about Bonds getting in. Everybody always talks about Pete Rose getting in.
I
it's
know.
The same outcome. Never happens.
You know, Jay might be, I think this is probably, I don't know why I said that. Benny Friedman, the Jewish, I think quarterback? Pastor, I don't know. But anyway, he was talking forever and always about his like dying wish was to get into the Hall of Fame. But because he had such a loud mouth and was so unappreciated by the league, I think he did, but I think he was already dead. Anyway, it called back those memories because Benny Friedman talked about the Hall of Fame pretty much every day until he died.
Well, Buck Weaver did the same thing from the 1919 White Sox, so which is understandable.
I was going to say one thing about your statistics on Pete Rose that people forget about. They remember the hits and the longevity and, of course, the betting, but to be an all-star, make the all-star game, 5 different positions.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. I mean, how many people have made it even with one outfield and one infield position?
Right.
Probably could count on one hand. He made for 5 different positions.
Well, here's another crazy set. Well, it's not really crazy for his time period, but he has 400 more walks than he does strikeouts in his career.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he ran to first base every time.
Yeah, hard to. And he also ended a dude's career in the All-Star game. So,
yeah,
I don't know if he's his career, but he trucked him pretty good. He also has a stat. He has the most wins as a baseball player. Wow. He's been a part of the most wins in MLB history.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact number, but I heard him talk about it the other day. But so, yeah, I'm sure we'll have the conversation of him getting in the Hall of Fame again when the elections come around.
Like it matters
for the Hall
now.
of Fame. I know, but it's always going to be a conversation. Like, who's the GOAT, you know? We always have that conversation.
Yeah. So, Ryan, would you lay us off about the playoffs, the way that it's opened up so far?
Yeah, the playoffs has been pretty damn good, man. The Tigers defeated the Astros, thank God, in a sweep in the wild card series. The Royals took out the Orioles, who pretty much limped into the playoffs, swept them in the wild card series. Mets took out Milwaukee, also another thank God. In dramatic fashion in Game 3 of that wild card series.
Not that we don't like universally hate Wisconsin, but sure, let's go with that.
As a Cardinals fan, I have to. I'm obligated. And then San Diego took out Atlanta in a sweep in the wild card series. Onto the ALDS, Detroit and Cleveland are tied up after today. That game just finished up just before we started this recording. They traded shutouts and I don't think was Detroit shutout in game one. I don't know.
I didn't check yesterday. Yeah.
Either way, it's tied up at 1, heading back to Detroit. Kansas City and New York will be throwing out the first pitch here in about an hour or so. That one is 1-0 New York after a crazy game 1 on Saturday night. And the NLDS, both series are tied. Mets and Phillies tied at 1. Phillies took game 2 in a walk-off, and San Diego smoked the Dodgers last night 10-2 after crushing 6 home runs. So that's tied up at 1.
Okay. Any prognostications before next week's podcast? If you got a thought about maybe a sleeper, an underdog that might pull one off, yeah.
You know what? You can never. The Mets are getting hot, man. The Mets are looking really hot right now. If that bullpen can continue to lock it down, I think Philly's in trouble. And Detroit got hot at the right time too. So,
okay. We're going to go ahead and roll on into basketball right now, and I actually saw something that I was interested in. It's going to be preseason, which is great. There's been media days and all kinds of wonderful things, but the Knicks pulled off a rare just before preseason trade. They acquired Karl Anthony Towns for Big Cat for Julius Randle and Alex Caruso.
What?
Yes, right under everyone's nose, and people were shocked that they could get someone that versatile, but also that the Minnesota is trading so much offensive firepower to kind of make their team, I guess, a little more balanced, so that the shots more go to Ant.
Yeah, that's the problem right there. Really trying to make that offense go through Ant more than Cat.
Yeah,
they're trading away a big man for another big man who's not as big
when he's not unhealthy.
When he's not sitting on the bench, when he's not sitting on the bench because he's injured. Randall's awesome. He's
right.
One of the best big men in the league, but I feel like they're getting on way too much to get too little back in return after making the conference finals.
I do too, but it's one of those things to where Alex Caruso can also guard the people that Ant might guard, Anthony Bennett might guard, because so that he can just focus on his offensive game, because he's literally the most athletic person they have on Minnesota, so that he can fall back into the a little bit on that. But one thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that the trade was very iffy, because the Knicks are already on the first apron, and you're not allowed to take in more salary than you're giving out,
right?
Or to take on any minimum players. And what they did, they took on from Charlotte, they took on 3 minimum players, paid them $1 more than the minimum. And then that way they were able to trade them to complete the trade and still stay on the first apron, which was an amazingly sneaky move, a brilliant move.
Oh yeah, that's pretty sneaky.
$1 more than minimum for 3 different guys.
Hey man, if you can find a loophole, there you go.
Yeah.
And that's what being a GM is all about.
Yeah.
Just find that loophole.
The GM for them is Leon Rose, who went to Temple University for law school, super agent for LeBron, okay, agent way back ago for Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson, not coincidentally, also from Philadelphia, okay. And the other thing about it is that Jalen Brunson, the son of Rick Brunson, of course,
Mhm.
who's the assistant coach for the Knicks. Okay, and Leon Rose, the GM, building a great team around Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is his a godson because of his relationship with Rick Brunson,
Gotcha.
and they both went to Temple. So the whole Philadelphia connection, maybe making a championship for New York down the line. That'd be pretty cool.
Ooh, I don't know. I wouldn't be making any prophecies right there, man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that.
Can I
But
break into this riveting basketball conversation for the breaking news that apparently Stephon Diggs was banging Cardi B when she was 8 months pregnant and married still?
wow, pop
What?
culture news.
Why? Why?
He a dog. Look,
Yeah.
Wow.
Too bad he's not a dog on the field.
look, I mean, yeah, I'm not even hating on it. I appreciate everybody has their own thing, and I just,
Wow.
this is the matchup I always needed.
I mean, Julie. I mean, I'm serious. You've just given the whole podcast a whole new offset.
Oh, nice. Yeah, let's see how. I can't wait to hear the reaction if he has one. 8 months
Wow, that is
pregnant.
crazy.
Oh,
I'd
Lord.
heard those rumors for months, but I never thought a name would come out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's shocking that someone as famous, you know.
Mm.
Wow,
She was real pregnant.
8 months pregnant. Oh my
When
gosh.
you're like gained like 50 pounds and the baby's about to pop, and Stephon Diggs is like, I love I'm pregnant.
Oh
Look, some that's a
Wow.
thing for some people. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a thing, all right.
Yeah. Well, since you're talking, Julie, why don't we go ahead and switch to the UFC? The basketball stuff can wait. We got too much football to worry about. So
mm,
tell us about the UFC this weekend.
yeah, well, there's nothing I appreciate more besides pregnant women and Stephon Diggs is blood. That was pretty
You're an amazing person and a fantastic
yeah, he's
fighter,
gotta catch
and I
the
can't wait to
rest.
see you back better.
And so that was the vibe. I don't think I've ever seen blood spray out of a nose like that.
No.
It was rather
Wow.
arterial. Yeah, I was just like, I didn't know. It looked like it was almost pulsating with his pulse, and it was rather gushing. It's probably one of the most dramatic fights that I've seen when it came to that factor. Um, and I love hockey. Part of the reason was because of the blood, and so this definitely was shocking and hilarious because, like you couldn't quite see in the video, Rogan is trying to dodge the blood noogies flying, and so yeah, Khalil Roundtree was definitely the underdog, and it was sort of the mood within that was the main card, of course. That was sort of the mood in the building was how many rounds is he going to be able to survive with Alex Pereira? There was never a discussion of if he was going to win, but it was like how many rounds can he survive? And he really hung in there until about the third round, and then he went from injured to oh my God, he's about to die. And it really quickly, and Sugar Sean felt this way, and so did I, and everyone else I watched it with was probably could have pulled him a little sooner. Probably would have been wise. I mean, coming from Sean O'Malley, I feel like that matters more than just for me. But yeah, because it was rough. It was yeah, and so they're just like, he can't even see out of his eye. It was kind of like the vibe. And so it was a bloodbath, and yeah, people were just proud that he made it as far as he did. And Alex Pereira that was his third match in 7 months to defend his title. So, which is shocking. Most people don't even play, 3 times in 2 years. And he did it once in April, once in June, and again in October. So we'll have to see what he does next. But yeah, I mean, look, when Joe Rogan is dodging blood nuggies, I gotta talk about it because it was hilarious.
That was wild.
Yes. And I'm like, maybe we don't make him do like a whole long interview, Because he's like, yeah. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, and oh, and he had some elevation problems. I don't get elevation sickness, kind of a brag, but I know other people do, and so he said he was gonna train more in elevation, because it was in Salt Lake City, and try again because I guess it slowed him down some. So we'll see. Maybe it's not the end of Khalil Roundtree, but it was definitely the end of that match. Oh Lord. Ryan's gonna drop some hockey on us before.
Oh,
So the Bruins signed their number one goaltender, Jeremy Swayman, back to an 8-year deal worth $66 million. He missed all of training camp, doing a standout, little holdout, looking for a new deal after he just went through arbitration. His annual average value comes out to $8.25 million, and that is tied for fourth highest AAV for goalies in the league. He also had until December 1st to make a deal, or he would have had to sit out for the rest of the year had he not signed the deal.
Okay.
So,
all right, all this college football that you all were yattering at me about and ignoring my exciting Khalil Roundtree announcements as they were live action happening. Lay it on us. What was going on? Why is this such a big deal?
Trummery, that's what was going on.
Who?
Trummery, that's what it was.
What is that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Let's see. Alabama lost unranked Vanderbilt in a big old upset.
It was insane. They manhandled them at the offensive line. I've never seen an Alabama defense treated like that. Good years or bad years?
Yeah, well,
I mean, they ran it up the middle on Bama.
Overrated.
They were. It just appeared that they were just sleepwalking in there. So yeah, that was the thing. But there were tons of upsets. University of Tennessee lost. USC lost.
Louisville
lost.
Let's see who else.
A lot of top team. Every top team.
Tennessee, Michigan, USC.
Yes.
And UNLV lost to Syracuse in overtime.
Right. I mean, tons of top teams. And it was supposed to be Cupcake Week, but it wasn't Cupcake Week. all these teams were favored by 10, 15, 20 points. I mean, they were playing at Vanderbilt as a conference matchup, but it was a 24-point underdog. And that quarterback that won, they said is the third 21-point dog he's been at and won. 3 times in 3 years he's been a 3-touchdown dog and won.
Miami was an 8.5-point under favorite against California and eked out a 39-38 win on Saturday night.
Yeah, but they did win.
They did win.
They did win. So
so the rankings go as followed. You get Texas moving back to number 1.
Right.
OSU, Ohio State, they go to 2. Oregon's at 3. Penn State at 4. Georgia at 5. Miami at 6. Bama drops to 7 from 1. Okay. Tennessee drops from 4 to 8. And then we got Ole Miss and Clemson rounding out the top 10.
Okay, I could kind of see that. I still think the power, what's the big one?
Michigan dropped from they're number 24 now, and they dropped 14 spots. So you tell me, no, they were 10.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Michigan dropped 14 spots. That's the biggest drop of the week.
Yeah. Let's see. I was going to say that all the underrated teams, the non-Power 4 teams, still chugging along. Tulane's having a great year. Army and Navy are both undefeated. The two service academies for the first time since 1945.
Really?
Yeah, a long, long time. And I was going to say the huge Arkansas team that just whipped up on Tennessee by 5. They beat UAB by 10, and last week Tulane beat UAB by 51. Thanks to a
So
late touchdown from UAB.
we only have 3 ranked matchups this week. We have Texas hosting or going to Oklahoma on Saturday.
That'll be awesome.
That'll be the afternoon game on ABC and ESPN Plus. We also have Ohio State going to Oregon. That'll be the Saturday night game on NBC.
Their first challenge.
Yep. Ole Miss at LSU. That's also Saturday night on ABC.
I would not bet against LSU.
Is that Saturday? Yeah, that's Saturday. Yep.
On the night game at home, national TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you, man.
They'll be ready for their first.
LSU's
looking forward to
they're
getting to the
pretty sneaky.
stadium. Yeah, getting forward to the stadium to maybe buy a beer while they're there. Coming in stone cold sober.
Yeah, I mean LSU's 4-1 in the last 5, so
Yeah,
Ole Miss is 4-1 in their last 5 too. So it's gonna be a good game. Number 9 going into number 13 on national television.
yeah. So
Primetime game, man. It's gonna be good.
it'll be good. I still feel that the top conferences are overrated. There's no way there should be more than 3 in the top 20. 4 at most, but probably 3. They'll get through.
You saying there's an
8-4.
SEC bias?
There definitely is.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
SEC country, it's easy to
Yeah.
see.
They play a lot of cupcakes too, man.
They do, and when they only beat them by 10 or 20, it's because they were holding back. But
they were just opening the playbook and see what.
Yeah, they weren't opening
Yeah.
the playbook. But then when they beat a conference team by only 5 when they were favored by 20, it's because they know each other's plays.
It's a conference game. They're always tougher.
So there's always
Get outta
an
here.
excuse for the big teams.
Always.
But anyway, we've got so much pro football to cover and so many crazy games. So we'll roll it over to Julie to kind of lead us on the way.
Absolutely.
For
And
this.
we are filming this directly before the Saints and the
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
yes, Saints and the Chiefs play. So we know that will be
Saints versus the refs.
well, I was gonna say that would be before the recording would come out, so we're not gonna make any thought-provoking predictions on that because our fans will have already seen the game. But
I predict Rashid will not play.
oh, I love Rashid Shaheed.
He's out.
Rashid, yeah, he's on the IR now. Rashid.
No.
Oh, is he?
Yes, they
Okay,
moved
he's
him
on
to
the IR.
Yeah.
Oh no shit.
So it's at least 4 weeks.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Hey, Cooper Cup's gonna be coming back hopefully by week 7.
I absolutely need to get
good.
look at my bets. Okay. So the 49ers and the Seahawks are on Thursday, which is much closer to when fans will be seeing this. If man, I'm gonna throw something if the Seahawks don't win that because the 49ers are a joke right now and third in the division. And so fingers crossed that they'll be even worse than the Giants and that we will redeem ourselves.
Hey, don't complain about being third in the division, Julie.
The 49ers
Oh,
are third.
49ers. Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, we're first.
I was gonna say that.
You're welcome. And
You're
the Cardinals
welcome.
are right behind us, which was
They're sneaky good.
it's my favorite thing ever because the team that I don't hate that I would prefer to be second would be the Cardinals. And so this is amazing and I love them. So that
Well,
is that.
Don't worry. All the bodies on the IR if the Rams are holding you up. You're welcome.
Fuck the Rams. Okay,
I'm
so
saying.
Tampa Bay and Atlanta, that game was wild. Okay, last
Oh,
Thursday. Because it was two really well matched teams. And so like I was like it could either be boring because they're so well matched or it could be interesting because we're gonna see like decent game. Definitely the latter. Um, the overtime, finish, strong finish there. Seeing Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield. Um,
ball out.
yeah, there's something about look, Baker Mayfield is way too expressive with his face. I'm just gonna say that because when he loses, it feels like the world is literally ending, and they kept zooming in on his face. I was like, okay, that's enough.
I like that from a quarterback. It's just me
Absolutely.
personally. Yeah, I want the
No,
quarterback
I
that looks like he's
appreciate the
life ended.
expression. I just don't want to like see him grieving so much because I feel bad
Yeah.
because I really like him. And Josh Allen does the same thing. He looks like he's crying. Like his eyes get a little misty when he loses, and I'm just like, stop it. Anyway,
Josh is a dog, man.
Okay.
so
All
we
right.
got
Oh,
New York and Minnesota. Did anybody catch that very early game?
I did.
Oh, nice,
listen to
Jay.
Jay.
Aaron Rodgers. Why would I not watch it? And
I
plus,
did hear the
it was in bloody
ending,
London.
but
I
that
had
was
to watch
it.
it.
Yeah. So I know like Aaron's not looking so hot out there.
He caught it a low ankle sprain, but he just
Oh
looked kind
no.
of hobbled. But the
Yeah.
thing is, Minnesota. I think I missed part of the first quarter, but by the time I saw it, he was back out on the field. He was looking good, and Minnesota. And I had like, um, they didn't have much going on. It was just like if they could wait out and not have
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers catch him. But he threw a couple of really bad balls in the game.
Mm.
He's good for the couple of those a game these days.
Yeah, but
He,
it seemed like extra, and I remember people saying that's a solid throw. Looks beautiful, but you threw it to somebody who had three people protecting them. It was like,
Yeah.
why in God's name would you throw that? It was like decisions consistently like that, more than normal, I would say.
right, that's the way it was. And I mean, when he makes it, it's a highlight. But when he doesn't, you're like, why are you? He does a lot of the things that you would call a rookie mistake. After 15 or 17
Are they
years, he still does.
are they running the ball often enough? Because I feel like they're not really using Brees Hall much at all.
They're not doing well off the running game.
No, that offensive line isn't that bad though. It's not terrible.
I'm
I mean,
convinced most are.
they didn't do well for Zach Wilson. You know,
Mm.
they've made some changes, but the offensive line for the Jets is just always their quarterbacks just always seem to be running for their lives. Most Jets
Yeah,
games I see.
and he's
I don't know.
hobbled, so that didn't end up well.
We've been seeing a lot of offensive lines just kind of falter this year.
Basically every single one.
Pretty
Like,
much, yeah.
does anybody have one that can do a goddamn thing? Um,
That's a good question. I
yeah,
feel like
so
Minnesota's is decent. I mean, if Sam Darnold's lighting it up,
yeah,
that'd be
okay, like
good.
Sam Darnold is having like
That's a
the
good
time of
point.
his life right now.
And I don't know, their running game just seems like it's not there, but Sam Darnold's really lighting it up. Well, except for Saturday, Sunday, he's looked very jet-like. You know what I mean? He
But
didn't look like the Sam Darnold from the first 4 weeks of the season.
But they pulled it out.
They did.
Well, that defense is pretty decent too. They're all healthy again.
On
So
to the next one because we have a lot.
Okay.
Carolina and Chicago. 10-36 favor of Chicago. I definitely feel like maybe we can reassess that maybe Bryce Young wasn't completely the problem, possibly.
oh, we all knew that.
Well, but people were
He didn't help the situation. but-
pretending that it was just him because you put in a well-seasoned quarterback who's done a good job, and they'll be able to fix everything. And it was like, to me, I feel like this was a bit of a redemption for
Andy Dalton's serviceable. He's not going to do a good job. He's going to do a job that's well done every now and then. But Carolina is a long way away in this rebuild, and Bryce Young was not the answer, regardless of what they thought. They needed to put more pieces around him. They
Yeah,
put
like he
in,
was
they put in They put an aging Adam Thielen around him, who's hurt constantly.
Mm.
Can you name another receiver on that team? They took away DJ Moore from him.
Kirk?
Christian Kirk's there now?
Isn't he?
Or is he still in Jacksonville?
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're right. Whatever. Failing
I mean, they're
quarterbacks.
just their defense is not good. Their pass rush is very mediocre. It's below average actually. Their secondary, I can't name a single person in that secondary except for maybe Horn. Is there a guy named Horn in there?
Don't know.
I don't either. They Chuba
But it
Hubbard.
was good to see Chicago.
Oh, sure, yeah, Chicago.
It feels like Caleb Williams is sort of coming into his own, which is good to see. Chuba Hubbard was out there killing it.
As always, he's really the main focal point of that offense and the only thing you can remember from that offense.
Yes. And so it was good to see them. It feels like Caleb is sort of warming up to the tempo of the NFL, and so that was a positive.
Slowly getting more confidence every week, and that's good for him.
Yeah, I think that this was a solid game. That proved a lot of
hope they don't run him into the ground.
Yes.
Give him a balanced attack.
Yep. Baltimore and Cincinnati, we definitely watched that one. Ended with that crazy overtime.
Wow.
I kind of died when Lamar Jackson fumbled. And I was just like, you've got to be kidding me right now. Because it was like y'all, like both of them made painful mistakes that could have easily lost them the game, and really they both should have lost if that was possible because it was so messy. But they managed to pull it together in the end, and I was like, And then NSYNC over there was
NSYNC.
Yeah, now that the bleach tips are growing out,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he went from Eminem to NSYNC. He definitely looks like that was kind of hard to watch. But anyway.
He threw 5 tutties and like 370 some yards, didn't he?
Yeah, but what did he do that was so blatantly dumb? I forget.
Interception.
Yeah.
Yeah. Threw that pick, so I mean
there was it was just messy ball on both sides, and I was just like, ew.
Even so, I mean McPherson usually makes that kick, so
the defense could not do a goddamn thing. Like,
oh god no. They were up 10 points in the second half and they blew it.
I think they were just sleeping. Or concussed. So Miami finally came in through the win with New England, so that was impressive. Ooh. That's the first time they've won in a long time, and probably will be the only time for a while.
I have a little gripe with that win.
Okay, go for it.
New England had that game. I don't understand. So the catch rule, okay? Catches the ball in the back of the end zone, 1 foot down, toe in, has control, goes out of bounds, his heel hits out of bounds, and they call it incomplete pass because his whole foot wasn't in bounds. So why is it a receiver can toe drag swag in the end zone, but if you catch the ball with your back facing the back of the end zone and you put your toe down, your heel hits the out of bounds marker, it's incomplete? What's the deal?
That's just is.
I don't understand it. I always thought toe in, control, catch. Is that not the rule anymore?
Look, you either do the dashing double drag where your toes tip, or you get your whole foot in there. That's what it is, okay?
I'm just saying, I feel like they screwed New England, which I never thought I'd complain about that.
Yeah, life has changed very rapidly.
Yeah.
Did you appreciate seeing the Dolphins actually win, Jay, after last week's Tennessee Titan situation?
I mean,
you could care less.
By transitive property, that makes Tennessee 28 instead of 30, I guess.
Yes. Cleveland and Washington
was never a game.
I'm in love with Washington. As you know, a lot of the Seahawks players got traded to Washington when they got Sam Howell. They did like a couple different trades. So a lot of my favorites are over there now. And so it's been I've been like so excited. Jalen Daniels was sort of flying under the radar. Now he's out here in these streets. And And then also, I just love to see the Browns fail because I really do believe in karma, and I believe that sometimes um, morality and decisions made by for profit only will impact you, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
It's very
Uh,
Cleveland Brown-esque to get
yeah,
Deshaun Watson,
I
a
was
man
just
who
very
didn't play
proud.
for a year and then gave him the most money in history
Hmm.
to be pretty much a third string level quarterback.
I'm just remembering all of those really awful signs that fans were holding up when he came to play for them and with their children. And so I just feel like this is a beautiful time, and I'm so excited, and I hope I'm just really grateful for this.
He walked off the field like he waved the white flag on fourth down, fourth and goal. Waved the white flag and made his coach call a timeout. So
Look, we cannot always determine how karma is going to play out, but we can enjoy it while it does.
I'm very much enjoying it. It's just
Yes.
and
Uh, that's my dream. Okay, Indianapolis and Jacksonville.
great
Thank
game.
God Jacksonville finally won something because I was getting sad for Trevor Lawrence. Although, poor Flacco. I always want to see couch potato Flacco get out there, you know?
Man, Jacksonville should have 2 wins this year, man. They couldn't hold on in week one. They finally pulled one out after they blew it this time around.
Yeah, I was shocked because they got that last field goal in like the last minute of the game or something, and I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
my God." Um, Buffalo and Houston. Y'all know I'm a Stroud, so don't talk nothing about him. I enjoyed that enthusiastically because I'm a Stroud. Um,
Just another game where the officials are making up rules as they go along.
Wasn't this another Josh Allen throwing the ball around game too?
They just stopped running the ball with Cook. They stopped running the ball, but roughing the passer should be called consistently, and they just decide when they're going to call it. That's all I got to say. Allen had multiple roughing the passer calls not called on Houston that stalled out drives. So
yeah, so I love Stroud, so that was awesome. And then we caught the end of that because I Vegas and Denver. Bo Nix can't stop, won't stop. And I
what was
don't
the
know
score of that game?
what?
What was the score of that game?
It was 18 and 34.
Oh, okay.
18 and 34.
Gotcha.
So almost lapped him.
Okay, so Denver is what now? What's their
Denver
record?
is 2-2, I want to say, or 3-1, 4-1.
Let me see. 3-2.
3-2. Okay.
Yeah,
Who
they're
was-
second in the division.
Who was
Exactly.
my surprise team for the year?
I don't know, Jay. I don't remember years ago.
You don't remember what we did on tape here about a month ago?
Dude, no.
Okay. But I said watch out for Bo Nix. He's been
Well,
throwing
I
against
said the
those
Cardinals
SEC
and-
defenses.
Listen, I told you that Denver was going to be decent. Okay, I just didn't know how good Bo Nix was going to be.
Yeah, all they can do is if you're a rookie quarterback and don't make a lot of mistakes, that puts you in the top 10% of rookie quarterbacks.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean, your rookie year, you're just kind of trying to learn. You don't have to ball out. You don't have to be a 5K passer and 55,000 touchdowns, you know?
Right.
Well, I got to watch him cry because, God damn it, Cat, because he got smattered by the Seahawks the first week, and so it's good to see that he's sort of revived himself, peeled himself off the turf, and got back out there.
Yeah, I mean, I was either going to say like Bo Nix, I think I said, or Drake May was going to be the best quarterback of that draft class, and Jaden Daniels is starting to come up the ranks on that one. Through the first 5 weeks, Jaden Daniels looked better.
I just got headbutted. Okay. That's Doopy saying instead of talking about his sleeper team, Arizona, who beat San Francisco, and I lost my mind because I do love that Arizona is doing as well as it has been.
I'm super shocked. I'm shocked by how bad San Francisco's defense has been this year,
Mm-hmm.
especially late in games.
Yes,
I think we're
pleasantly
all shocked
shocked.
that Vegas and San Francisco both been
Nick
awful.
Bosa,
Mm.
where has he been? Nick Bosa. I have not seen nothing of him this year. Isn't he supposed to be like the highest paid defender in the league? Like the highest paid pass rusher?
Okay,
And he's
maybe
like
maybe
like he's invisible. He's not there. He's getting stopped by single, one on ones. He's getting stopped. He's just not doing what he's used to be doing, and I'm shocked.
Although I did write a article about the first Dominican-born player to ever play in the NFL, who is a hometown hero who was from Union City, and his jersey hangs up in a barber shop, and that's why I looked him up. So that was a wonderful article that I wrote this week. So definitely check that
Coolio,
out.
man. Coolio.
Um, let's get into Dallas and Pittsburgh, and yes, I will defend my point until the day I die that the head coach absolutely can and should be a be a present. What do you get that face for?
I'm confused as what you're talking about.
The head coach can and should be involved when a player is clearly needing a concussion evaluation.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was like, are we going the DAC route here? Like, what are we
No,
doing?
no. And me and Caleb got into this today, so I was kind of hoping he would be here. Before the concussion protocol was even a thing, it was always up to the training staff and the head coaches, and still is on a high school level, which is the way it used to be for all leagues, college and everybody is a mandatory reporter, every coach, every training staff member. The third party people are not there to do the job of other people. They are there to oversee everything. It is not their responsibility. They are the last defense.
Right.
Okay. And so when you see that your player's head bounce around like a joystick, you can say, hey, the ref is talking about getting you off the field. Can you get off the field so we can move on? But no,
Right.
he's just going to sit there and watch because he doesn't mind if Justin Fields gets a brain contusion from getting two concussions in a row.
Oh,
So
so we're talking about Mike Tomlin. I didn't watch the game last night, so we're talking about Mike Tomlin then.
I am
uh,
absolutely talking about Mike Tomlin
I,
because it
I
was
was
so what?
I'm agreeing with you, but I am also pointing out that I think in the last 2 or 3 years since they've had the overseers, the third party, I've seen the head coaches be a step a lot back. I haven't seen much of them being central on the decision making.
Right, because there's other people there to do it for him.
I'm not
Right,
saying
which
that's a good thing. I'm just saying
no.
that it seems that way.
Right.
I think that could be the case. I think there should be a penalty, frankly, for when and they will do a medical timeout if they try to play through the player getting pulled off the field. If like they continue to try to play the next
Right.
without leaving the field, they will do a medical timeout, which is a consequence.
Right.
But I think that there should be a consequence because they are supposed to be the very, 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 very last line of defense. You should never hear from them. And if you did, it's because you were negligent. And that's a bad thing. Shame on you because you're staring at the play. Everybody's staring at the play. It is the main player on your team. He gets whiplash like 3 times. I know you saw that. And then we sat there for like a whole minute because the ref came out because refs can also pull players from the team and should. The ref like sort of was like, "Hey, buddy," kind of grabbed him by the back. You okay? Like maybe we should. And Justin Fields is like, da 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 da. In a situation I've never seen before, and neither have the sportscasters. The ref leaves and then comes back and makes him get off the field. But they had to have more discussion with the spotter, which was bizarre. And then he goes to a protocol that lasted about 60 seconds
Right.
after 2 plays and runs back in, which is like there's loopholes there that I'm not going to blame on the coach because that's the training staff. There are loopholes where they can send somebody back really soon. And it's really not a thorough evaluation, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I do think that it is more than fair to blame the head coach who absolutely saw it, and not to say the people who are the last defense are just supposed to step up and do it. And I know that before they were there, it was all up to the coaches and staff, and I know they ignored most of them. And I
Right.
know like Belichick got in trouble because he tried to get that player to go back out too soon. So I know that's the norm, but I think it's okay to hold their feet to the fire and say, this is what you should be doing. This is your job. You fucked up. I think there should be fines. But
There usually
anyway,
is.
yeah, I hope that there is because the spotter never should have had to be the person, and to then pull him from the field, have him be gone for 2 seconds, and then pop him back out there was gross because we all saw him almost lose his head. Um,
Yeah, I didn't watch the game again, so like
If we're going to legislate, why don't we just throw it out there to where the first time is a fine and the second time is a draft pick?
oh,
isn't that what they
yeah,
normally
or
do under investigations too? Because
Yeah,
I
under
remember,
investigations, there's fines first of all, but second offense is a draft pick. You're right.
yeah, I remember because few years ago, the Rams were under investigation. Jeff Fisher, because Case Keenum in a game
hmm.
against, I think it's Baltimore,
Yes, the
he
Case
got
Keenum.
smacked around, and he was
And the
clearly
teammates like begged for him. And the thing is, this is how it's supposed to go. The player is supposed to feel willing and allowed to come to the coach and say, I can't play. We know they're never going to do that. And the head coach would be like, are you fucking kidding me, you bitch baby? But that's what's supposed to happen. If they
right,
don't, then the medical training staff and the coaches are supposed to get involved and help. And if the players come to you and say, dear God, please pull him, that should be the end of the story. Because
right.
other players aren't going to be like saying that with no reason either, because it is very serious to pull a quarterback from the field. I realize that. But if player safety is supposed to be the focus, and it shouldn't be such a big deal. And I mean, what's his name? The Miami Dolphins head coach? Yeah, I totally do.
McDaniel.
Yes, I totally do blame him for screwing up so bad that the entire concussion protocol had to be completely rewritten.
I was
Yeah,
going to say, didn't he go to the school of Belichick?
Uh,
probably. And Tomlin was right there with him.
Shanahan, definitely under the school of Shanahan.
Right. I was thinking it was assistant. McDaniels was the assistant with.
Oh, you're thinking of Josh McDaniels.
Okay, yeah, different.
Yeah, we're talking about Mike McDaniel.
Daniel. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
they're really
OC
close
for
together.
yeah,
Okay.
two different people.
Sorry.
No,
But
you're
I
fine.
know there's like the old school thing, and since Mike Tomlin is the most tenured head coach, I know that he probably still has some of that mentality.
Mhm.
But I think that when you're talking about player safety, you've got to at least pretend to care. And he was just sitting there with his little poker face, like, oh, I'm not going to react to anything that happens. Whenever it happens, that other people force me to do because I can't do my own job. I'm just going to watch happen while the ref sits there and yaps at my player because he won't get the hell off the field. And all I have to do is say one thing, and Justin Fields is going to do exactly what he says. But no, we have to wait for all the talking. The athletic trainer is like on the phone, like, no, you got to get him. Like, come on, we didn't need that whole show. Just tell him to get off the field and move along.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, the head coach's voice is in his headset.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
Yeah,
coach says to
Get
get off the
off.
field. Boom, it's done.
Yeah, but no, he just sat there like, oh, if they let him play through the spinal cord scrambler, then I won't be the person to say anything about it. Like, okay, cool. And they said that he's one of the people who has his players play the most with padding with impact, like during the week. And so, like, if we're saying, oh, he looks out for his players, not their brains, not their brains. And you know what? We're realizing the concussion crisis will only grow. More young men will kill themselves and others, and we will see the symptoms continue to increase, and there will be blood on hands. And there will be consequences, and some of the blood on those hands will be the head coaches. And I don't
yeah,
give a damn. I will say that because have to take accountability. And I want those head coaches who force those players to go out early to be the ones that spoon feed them at 50. You know what? What's his name? Um, the Packers former QB, the
Brett
not
Favre.
Aaron.
Favre.
What? Yeah, Favre. He just said he has Parkinson's. He's 54. And he's had memory loss since he was 40.
Well,
Like you
yeah,
Yeah, so like I want those head coaches who said play through it to be the one that changes his diaper in a couple years. Okay.
I mean,
and there's
Brett played through that era of '90s where like you got your head taken off too.
Through it, yeah.
And now the player and now head coaches know. They know. So it's even worse. So yes, I will say blood is on their hands when they don't get involved with this.
Well, I was watching a thing on YouTube today. It was NFL Primetime from 2003.
Yeah.
And they were showing Kurt Warner got a concussion, and they were actually concerned about the concussion.
Yeah.
That's way back in 2003, but Mike Tomlin didn't care in 2024.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see who does and who doesn't. And then who was that other player that they made retire pretty early because he got so many? Steve
Aikman
Michael
did.
Or Troy Aikman had to retire.
Troy
Aikman, Steve Young, is that it? Steve Young?
Yeah.
Steve Young did.
Yeah.
And that was pretty early on.
Yeah.
So some people have been concerned.
Didn't Jim McMahon retire early because of concussions too? Yeah, because he's got a brain issue now too.
Who?
Jim McMahon.
Oh yeah. Yes, he's like
he did.
Yeah, he did. And
he was in his 30s, I think.
And his coach made that joke about how he got a really bad concussion. He's going to be playing 100% the entire week, every day for the practices, and he's going to be back out there next week. And he
That's
thought
the original old school coach. That was Ditka.
That was Ditka.
Yep.
Ditka. Yeah. Oh, what we got left, Julie, in the roundup?
Now we're just talking about the game that's happening right now. The Saints and the
Chiefs.
Yeah, but that'll be long gone by the time we see it. So what do we think, San Francisco or Seahawks for Thursday?
Tie.
Oh.
What?
A tie.
A tie. That would be awesome.
I would rather them tie than either of them win.
I'm going with San Francisco. They can't stay hurt forever.
Without
I'm pretty sure they can.
No, I don't think
they're struggling.
Just like I keep saying, the Titans are going to be better the next year because they traded for a 4-year starter at center, and they've got 2 top 10 draft picks on the left side of the line. If their coach can figure out run left, they'll be okay.
Are they going to be able to pay? Are they going to be able to pay their middle linebacker now? He's on a contract year.
No, they never pay their middle linebacker.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
They lose middle linebackers every 5 years.
Bro, we gifted you a middle linebacker, a 5th-round pick, and you're just going to let him walk.
Okay, so we can see that Jay has some cognitive dissonance going on right now with the trauma that comes with being a Titans fan, and he's projecting that onto the 49ers.
They do not pay their defensive guys. They pay the bad offensive guys, and they don't pay the good defensive guys. They forget you play on both sides of the ball.
That's about as old school as ignoring concussions.
You let Derrick Henry walk. You try to pay Ryan Tannehill. It must be rough being a Titans fan, bro.
It's really bad. But like I said, when they learn to run on the left side of the line, where all the good players are, they'll be good. They will soar to being 6-11 this year. I swear it.
Okay.
On the back of what?
What was it? 4-13 or something?
No, what's going to lead them to the 6 wins?
Running left behind a good defensive line.
Run left. That's it.
Run left. And Tony Pollard is very good. It was underused in the Dallas system.
Isn't he injured? No,
Tony
that's
Pollard?
Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Look, it's 7 letters. It starts with a P, and they both were Cowboys. Leave me alone.
They have Tajay Spears with no knee cartilage, and they have Tony Pollard.
Don't even talk to me about knee surgeries.
Who's about 5'8", and they're both good.
I don't think Pollard was underused in Dallas. I think he was used quite well his last couple of years there.
Well, that is very.
No, you don't think so?
I need to watch the Manning cast.
Sure, yeah.
What am I going to do without that? Write an article about Stephon Diggs and Cardi B? Yes, also happening.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
Has everybody got a final thought for today?
That was mine because I just think that's important. I think I said blood on their hands enough times.
Okay.
And, passionately, and I brought up Stephon Diggs and Cardi B when she was 8 months pregnant.
Okay, Ryan, it's your turn to top that.
Hockey's back tomorrow fully.
There you go.
There's the Prague series over the weekend that nobody really cared about. Devils took that one 2-0 over Buffalo. So good for the Devils. Also, stop doing stupid stuff like that. Airing games at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, like anybody's gonna watch that on a Friday. You kidding me?
Yeah.
Whatever. That's my old man thought of the day.
Yeah. All I've got, like I said, I'm Ajax Mem on is my Twitter handle, and I'll be watching some underrated non-G4 team kick the back end of some Power 4 team this weekend, just like every week this year.
And I'm gonna go remember why. Because I cannot remember.
The 2020 playoffs.
It was not 2020. It was way back when.
Okay.
2008.
Give your other podcast too now, Julie.
You got another podcast too? Look at that.
I still do True Crime with Just Julie. It's just on Spotify. It's a Spotify exclusive. Yeah, I do it every week. And
I've got Spotify, so I'll catch you.
Yeah, and even this week I compared Air McNair, the Netflix documentary. I compared that to what I already knew, what was sort of in the public, and what did they bring anything else new? Did they what did they leave out? Those kind of things. 10 out of 10 would recommend, but there's a couple things to keep in mind that they left out, but they did a good job about talking about the uncomfortable things. A lot of football for the football lovers who aren't so into true crime, and a lot of Jeff Fisher. So that was interesting.
That guy.
I'll just say he's never going to be a detective, because the people who say, "Oh, ignore," there's a lot of confusion around his murder, and we may never know why. But we should forget about that and just remember him as a man. Like, okay, if the whole justice system did that, we would have we would have a bunch of cold cases, because we'd all be remembering how they were as men. Like, yeah, cool story, Jeff Fisher. Anyway.
July 9th, Jeff Fisher Day.
That was my gripe with Fisher. Nobody cares about your, I'm just remembering him as a man story. We all remember him as a man. What else was he? Like, but that doesn't mean that justice gets ignored because you remember him as a man. So anyway, that was my issue with him, but I pointed that out. But like I said, lots of football for the football fans, a good amount of true crime for the true crime fans, and they did talk about the tough stuff even when it was embarrassing.
Makes sense.
I appreciated that, because sometimes they try to cover up the conspiracies, and this time they said no, he got killed by his mistress that he was sleeping with when he had a wife and kids at home. So, if we can't talk about the tough stuff, what can we talk about? So I appreciated the transparency.
Absolutely, yeah.
That sounds good.
Are you gonna review the Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix?
The what?
The Mr. McMahon documentary on Netflix. You remember that we talked about that a while ago. I think.
I'll take a look. Yeah,
it's good. I watched it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm always willing to do another one, and and we got a chance to talk about some of the exciting true crime that's sort of lived through the ages, and Steve McNair is definitely one of those, but we're always up for more, so appreciate the rec. But so like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, ding, so that you always know when we're gonna upload, because
amen, brother.
Yeah, and we will see y'all next week.
That shit going today, bro. Don't miss out.
All right. Bye, everybody.